So we got some stuff going on today. I'm starting a little bit later than I had planned because I had to watch Andor. Finish it up. It was amazing. Holy crap, I'm going to review it soon. I loved it. Wow, what a show, what a show. I think my full review should be out on Friday, I think. Yeah, just, man, I'm going to rewatch it soon too. Me and my uncle are going to watch Rogue One next week as well. Very excited, very excited. Anyway, guys, so with the exception of Andor, there's something else that dropped. It was the new Superman trailer. I loved it. We're gonna watch it real quick, and I'm gonna talk about it, give my thoughts on it. I think this movie's gonna be something special. Fingers crossed here. I really do. I really think it's gonna be really good. I kind of can't wait. Yeah, I'm gonna give my thoughts and breakdowns, and then we're gonna play Dead by Daylight for a little bit. And then we're going to hop back into Doom the Dark Ages. So I'm very, very excited to get going in all of that stuff. As you can see, I got the lighting in my room, got blue and red going on. I didn't put any yellow because it looked kind of weird. So, you know, yeah, I'm going to leave my camera there for now while we watch this in hopes that YouTube does not flag it. And then, once we finish with the trailer, we will go over it and break it down. So I got subtitles on for the trailer as well, just in case I can't help but talk over it. So anyway, let's go and get this started. I will drop the resolution to like 1080p when we go through the thing frame by frame, just for buffering reasons. Probably should have downloaded this trailer, but I wasn't really thinking about it, to be honest. So I should have. Next time we react to we do a big breakdown for a movie trailer, I'll make sure to record it or download it ahead of time. All right, guys, let's go ahead and start this bad boy. I think it looks phenomenal. I cannot wait to watch it again. If Chrome would let me.
Are you being serious right now?
Yes, I am.
Yeah.
You'd let me interview you as...
First of all, Rachel Brosnahan killing it as Lois. Straight up. I think she's crushing it.
Ready?
Let's do it, Cronkite.
Superman.
Miss Lane.
All right. I like that Miss Lane, by the
come
way.
under a lot of fire.
We'll talk
for what
about it.
some might-
We'll talk about it.
It's a lot.
Why would you throw something at
Today,
Superman?
the secretary
Gonna
of
turn around
Defense
laser
said he was
blast you
gonna
like
look into your
Homeland.
actions.
Got Rick Flag Sr.
That's
there.
fine.
My actions? I stopped a war.
Maybe.
Not maybe. I did.
In effect, you illegally entered a country.
This is how you're gonna be?
I'm not the one being interviewed, Superman. Did you consult with the president?
I really like Nicholas Holt's
You seemingly
Lex as
acting
well.
as a representative of
I
the
wasn't
United States
representing
will
anybody
cause
except
more
for me.
problems around the world.
We're gonna talk about these buildings. I got some thoughts here.
I would question myself in the same situation and consider the consequences.
People were going to die.
I love this moment, by the way. This is some like Sam Raimi Spider-Man stuff.
Hey, buddy.
I love that
Eyes up
so
here.
much. We're gonna talk about who this is as well. I did some research on it. Really interesting. Gives some credence to what
Choices,
James Gunn's been talking about with his plans for DC after this.
actions.
Music's good. We got Guy Gardner in the background.
Who you are.
Got Pa Kent, which I really. This stuff just looks great.
Superman.
You're terrific. His eyes are so
not bad.
blue. Got a Morpho over there.
Somehow become the focal point of the entire world's conversation. I will not accept that.
I cleaned your boots. I'll go get them for you.
I really like that moment too, honestly. That's a very Superman parent moment. Yeah, don't even need the title. We all know what this movie is.
A dog.
Yeah, it's Crypto. I think Crypto is gonna be awesome in this. So, look, I literally got my stream literally got heads up. We've detected video in your stream belonging to someone else. All right, we're gonna go through this frame by frame. Before I do that, there is some really interesting stuff in this trailer. Okay, so we open on Metropolis here, which is very dark. And, you know, they're having an argument. So this is a callback to the Richard Donner Superman movie, which is pretty famous, except this time it's a lot different, right? So I really like that they're doing this as like a callback, but it feels really fresh. So in the original film, Lois is interviewing Superman. They don't really know each other very well at that point. Basically, it's very flirtatious. One of the best scenes in a comic book film, to be honest. And this time, it's like a couple who's been together for a little bit, and they're having like a bit of an argument. By the way, I do want to talk about their apartment here. This apartment is sick. It looks lived in, looks like a real space. Whoever the set designer is, you really did a good job here. Let me actually move my camera and stuff real quick. Hang on a second. So whoever the set designer is for this movie, just absolutely killing it. And I do like this line about "Let's do it, Cronkite." That's really awesome. So they're having like the little spat here because he disagrees with her questions. Of course, we got the public here who's mad at Superman. Once again, you got this guy who's throwing a can or something at Superman. Not a good idea, honestly. But I like this crowd work. Actually, it's funny. This chick, I just now noticed by pausing the frame, is looking at the camera, but that's okay. It happens. Especially when you got so many extras. We got him. We got Rick Flag here in the Pentagon. I don't think he's the Secretary of Defense. That wouldn't really make much sense if all of a sudden Rick Flag Sr. was Secretary of Defense. I think he's there probably listening to the Secretary of Defense, or, you know, maybe Amanda Waller's going to be in this movie. Who knows? It's hard to say. And here we have a conflict going on. It looks like this is an army versus civilians, which is kind of similar to some real life stuff here. So they are going to get into some actual political stuff. We will see how people react to that. I actually am glad because, to be honest with you, they do this stuff all the time in comics. Superman is a very political character. So, you know, if anyone complains about that, you know, it's got a precedent in the comics. I do like this moment. I think when it cuts here, I think this is him fighting the kaiju. His suit's pretty singed. We saw in the other trailer that the kaiju is attacking Metropolis. Here we have Superman getting arrested by Ultraman and this character from The Authority, the engineer. Now, I had to Google that. I haven't read The Authority. I don't really know much about these characters, but I will show you guys who this is in a moment. And I'm not going to talk too much about Ultraman here. Here's a better shot of everybody. I'm not going to talk about too much about Ultraman here. All I'm going to say is I'm interested to see if they do what they do in the comics with Ultraman. That's all I'm going to say. If you don't want any spoilers, don't look that up at all, okay? I'm just saying. But this chick right here, before we move on, is a character from The Authority, who I got pulled up right here. So first of all, let me show you guys The Authority. So this is The Authority. Once again, another Grant Morrison. I don't think he created them, but he has written for them, I believe. I'm not sure. I need to do some more research on them. I think I'm going to actually order this comic now because I think they are going to actually make this movie. When James Gunn announced he was working on this stuff, I honestly was like, I don't think he's going to make this. But this is The Authority. I think this right here is this character, the engineer, right here. I have a better picture of her in a second. But as you can see, she's a little bit more nipply than she is in the movie, which is probably a smart choice. But I think she's got like some kind of nanotech stuff going on. Here's another good look at her as well from the comics. So, you know, she's not as shiny. We'll see if she ends up getting shiny or something like that. Depends on what they decide to do with her in the film. But these characters I'm not really that familiar with, but it is interesting that, you know, James Gunn, he made that announcement of like what he's going to be doing with the DCU, and you know, The Authority was a part of, you know, that whole thing, and when he made that announcement, and I'm surprised to see that he's already incorporating them in Superman here. So we'll see what she ends up doing. It looks like she's working with the government or maybe Lex Luthor. There's a moment later in the trailer that makes me think she's working with Lex Luthor to some degree. We'll see. You know, I don't think the Authority is bad guys, so we will see what that's about. And as you can see here, Ultraman is pretty strong, and that's all I'm going to say about Ultraman. We're going to move on. I don't want to give any spoilers. They're continuing about their argument here. I want to talk about these buildings falling here for a second. So everyone probably already knows that back when Man of Steel came out, there was a pretty big controversy about cities and stuff being destroyed and civilians dying. And I mean, I'm sure there's some civilians getting killed here. We will see if people have the same reaction or not. I'm not really sure. You know, we'll see. I have a feeling no one's going to really complain about it, which kind of sort of hypocritical, but it doesn't really matter. I didn't have issues with that stuff in Man of Steel. I think the movie's pretty good for the most part. But, you know, not perfect, but, you know, whatever. I'm just going to move on. I think that's really interesting that we see pretty prominently displayed buildings getting pretty messed up. This is the shot from, let's go back a little bit. Yeah, here we go. This is the shot from the other trailer, the teaser. I do really like this shot a lot. Apparently this is mostly practical, by the way. I'm sure this stuff isn't here, but they did like do some explodey stuff, and David Cornsweet was there, and that's why his hair and stuff is actually kind of getting messed up in the thing, and I think that's really cool. So I want to talk about this dude right here. I think this guy is not the Juggernaut. But I think my theory is it's Lex Luthor in his power suit. This movie is pulling from All-Star Superman quite a bit. I actually reread, I'm going to reread All-Star Superman again before this movie comes out, but I reread it at the beginning of this year. And it's a great book. It's by Grant Morrison. I have it pulled up right here, actually. Pick this up sometime. Amazing book. It's only like $10 over here on Amazon. That's funny. But they also have a movie. I don't think the animated movie is as good. This movie feels very much like a combo of like the Donner Superman, the All-Star Superman, and also the New 52 Superman, especially when it comes to the suit. We'll talk about the suit in a minute. But here comes my favorite moment, I think, in the trailer coming up. Actually, we're going to get a better shot. Yeah. So, I mean, you know, I'm not as familiar with Superman's Rogues Gallery as I am with some other characters. But if this is going to be anybody, I don't know who this would be if not Lex Luthor in his power suit. Granted, you know, it could be anybody, I guess. It might be someone else. It looks like there's some T-spheres here in the background, by the way. I think Mr. Terrific is helping out with this fight, it looks like, maybe. That's pretty cool. Once again, I'm glad that they're keeping spoilers pretty, you know, contained, I think. I don't really know anything about this movie. I don't want to know too much about this movie, other than what I see in the trailers. I used to do this thing where I would try to get all the scoops and everything, and just basically learn what everything was going on in the movie before the movie even came out. And, you know, I don't do that anymore. So, but this is actually my favorite moment coming up here in the trailer. So he falls, he crash lands, all those people are there. But this moment right here, where this guy comes and helps Superman out, I've been wanting this stuff back in superhero movies for a long time, actually. This really reminds me of like some Sam Raimi Spider-Man stuff, where the members of the city are getting involved as well with the superhero. I love this stuff. This is very earnest. This whole movie seems very earnest, and I like that quite a bit. I'm sure there's going to be plenty of comedy in it, because James Gunn does that. Now, just because a movie has comedy doesn't mean it's not earnest. You know what I mean? There's plenty of comedy in the Sam Raimi Spider-Man trilogy. But I'm just tired of these superhero movies. I don't think taking themselves too seriously is the right word. I just think, like, there's moments that they do where they kind of just undercut the characters, I feel like. You know, they're like, oh, yeah, this is just goofy comic book stuff. But it's like, yeah, okay, I know it's goofy comic book stuff, but you can make a legitimate, real, and earnest film. I think the first Wonder Woman did a good job of doing that. And there's other stuff as well that I think's done good recently. But this is actually, this feels like Superman, I'm not going to lie. When I pick up a Superman comic, this is what it feels like, to be real. So he's really capturing it. So we get a better look at his suit here. It's a little bit messy. His suit's going to be getting messed up in this movie, it looks like, quite a bit. But it does look a lot like the New 52 Superman suit. It doesn't have the red around the collar, which might make the collar look better. I'm not really sure. I'm not a big fan of the collar, honestly. I just never have been. He does have the red trunks like the All-Star Superman has. You know, I don't know. This suit I never really gelled with. So, you know, let's see here. Oh, yeah, here's Lex Luthor in his super suit, actually, in the comics. I'm really curious to see if they do the super suit. If it is Lex Luthor. If that's their take on the super suit, this back here, this moment back here, then that's interesting to me. You know, he is shooting lasers out of his eye, but like, I don't know. Once again, though, I will say in this shot, um, once again, it looks like there's some civilians getting messed up. And I mean, you know, like I said, a big criticism of Man of Steel, and they even addressed it in Batman v Superman, was, you know, civilians getting messed up. And, you know, it would be kind of funny if, like, outrage didn't, because I mean, it was like legitimate outrage. I remember. I mean, I liked that movie a lot, and people, all it seemed like people wanted to talk about was like, how much destruction there was. And I'm like, yeah, I mean, it's kind of an alien invasion movie. I mean, it's gonna have destruction, bro. But I just really love this moment quite a bit. And, you know, this may or may not be an immigrant as well. I think that's also, you know, important as well. Superman, as we all know, probably one of the most famous immigrants of all time. So, you know, we have this moment here, which I like a lot, which is, hey buddy, eyes up here, which is pretty funny. He flies way up. I think it's pretty dope. He's definitely fighting the kaiju in that moment, I think. Now this is the part from director James Gunn. They're doing a lot of Richard Donner Superman stuff to this, by the way, which I find interesting. Even the music is very reminiscent of the score as well. But here we got the Force of Solitude. Now here's what's interesting, okay? So, well, here's a but. But anyway, this chick is from the Authority, and she is working pretty closely with Lex. Now, that's so cool, by the way. So she's going to get in a fight with Crypto. We'll see how the audience feels about that. She's doing some cool fight stuff here. We got Lex looking cool as shit. I think this back here, by the way, speaking of Richard Donner stuff, by the way, this is such a Gene Hackman, Lex Luthor bit. The way he's dressed and stuff. I mean, Lex dresses like this in the comics too sometimes, but this feels very much like some Gene Hackman stuff, which I like quite a bit. There's someone in the background there as well. I don't know who that is. Could be another robot, maybe. But this right here, I don't think we get a close-up shot of her. I'm pretty sure this is Miss Tessmacher. And Miss Tessmacher, I'm pretty sure, was a character created in the Richard Donner movies. She's not in the comics. And yeah, so that's really interesting to me. Keep going here. He takes off as he's got them blue eyes. So here's what's interesting. So this makes me wonder, you know, she's obviously like an android or something, you know, has something going on underneath her skin, and she's kind of surprised here that Crypto, you know, messed her up like that, which I find interesting. Boy, you know what? If they plan on making this character a good guy in another movie, if she punches Crypto, man, I don't know. Audiences don't really like to see that sort of thing happen to dogs. We have this moment here between Lex and Superman that I like quite a bit. And it's kind of funny that they're doing this. And Guy Gardner's like, hey, bro, you can come help me or what? I need some help over here. I mean, I'm doing a good job on my own, but hey, bro, help me out. We got some kid Superman stuff here. We've seen this sort of thing before in every Superman movie. Now, I thought, you know what's funny? This is the only shot we had of Pa Kent in the trailer, okay? It was from behind. And from behind here, I actually thought this was Michael Ironside. Now let me look up the actor really quick, because I've seen him in lots of stuff, but I was like, yeah, I was dead wrong about who's playing. But I really love the casting for Pa and Ma Kent. I'm not gonna lie. I think I've seen some people complain about it, but I think it's actually pretty spot on. I mean, they just look like average people, and I think that's awesome. It is, yeah, Pruitt Taylor Vince, who's been in some pretty good movies actually. And he's in like some, he was in Constantine. I remember him in Constantine. He's like the drunk priest. He's a really good actor, actually. He's been in some David Fincher stuff, too. So I think he's a great choice. You know, we'll have to wait and see how it goes when the movie comes out, of course. But, you know, I kind of like that they're not killing Pa Kent, actually. I think that's a good differentiation, because killing Pa Kent kind of gets like killing Uncle Ben. You know what I mean? Sometimes it's more interesting when we got a really great shot of Mr. Terrific here, actually. Yeah, so I can't remember his name, but he was in X-Men First Class. He looks exactly like Mr. Terrific from the comics. It's kind of insane. Not a whole lot to talk about here. He's got his T-spheres, of course. He always has those. You know, this is a character who very much could have his own movie someday. Like, you know, he's a great character. Definitely check him out. My first introduction to him was in Justice League Unlimited. He's a very cool character. He's got some great comics, by the way. So definitely check him out sometime. If you watch this movie and you think he's cool, he's even cooler in the comics, I can guarantee you. So, so here we got Clark in bed. He's like messed up. I'm assuming after a conflict with Lex or something. And there's some interesting stuff in this trailer. So like right here, they're throwing Clark Kent. This is, by the way, these people are part of Luthor Corp, it looks like. They're called Luthor Corp in this movie, which I think is interesting. I think that's what they were called in Smallville, funny enough. So I think James Gunn's a Smallville fan. But we got Metamorpho over here, just chilling. He looks like he's got a kryptonite hand, and he's probably in there to keep Superman depowered, I think. Which, to be honest, probably not a good idea. I mean, like, Metamorpho's kind of a nice guy, so I feel like they're gonna chat it up, and then Metamorpho's gonna be like, let's get out of here, buddy. But they're in some kind of big containment thing, and if you can see, like, back here, reflected, is more cells with more people in them. And I'm curious, how many people does Lex have locked up in this prison that people may or may not know about? This might be a government-funded prison as well, or maybe something he works alongside with in the government, as Lex does pretty often. But yeah, they're beating him up here, stuff like that. And we got the shot of him in the dust that I think looks pretty dope. I mean, this is a pretty cool suit. This looks like something that you would see in like a 2-page spread in a comic, honestly, and he would be like creased in the middle. But, you know. And now here we have our shot of Justice League International, who Maxwell Lord seems to be in charge of. I haven't read a whole lot of Justice League International comics. Boy, it is really bright in this shot, huh? I like this for the most part. I'm curious why Guy Gardner's not glowing green. Maybe that's something that they will... Let me actually slow this down. Maybe that's something that they will add in post, maybe? But it's kind of weird that he's not glowing green, because, like, the Green Lanterns, they, you know, fly using their ring, and they usually put, like, the little green stuff around them so that they can fly. Mr. Terrific's in his chair here. And now Hot Girl over here, played by Isabella Merced, who's been on The Last of Us and stuff. She's a really great actress. I gotta say, though, her wings seem a little small. You know, small complaint, but, you know, I do want her wings to be a little bit bigger. I mean, I guess they kind of fit her because she's pretty short in real life. But, you know, I think she'll do really good as Hot Girl, though. I think, you know, Nathan Fillion's been waiting to play a Green Lantern in live action for, like, forever now. But right here, you know, once again, this chick is fighting a lot. So I'm going to have to look more into the Authority and see, like, what their deal is. Because she seems like a big baddie. And she even, like, just looks like a bad guy. And Mr. Terrific's laid out over here. So I'm really interested in that. And we got Ma Kent here as well. Good look at her real quick. And she says this line that I like a lot, which is, I clean your boots, I'll go get them for you. I like that line a lot. Yeah, this just looks like a really good movie. And we have Guy Gardner doing some stuff here, which is pretty dope looking. You know, the whole movie just looks really great. I can't wait for it. It looks like they're really crushing this. So, you know, it's definitely going to be one to look out for sure. It does come out the week after Jurassic World. We'll have to see how the box office is, but I think it's going to be a huge hit, honestly. I really do. I think we're going to be listening to that triumphant music. You know, so, but I dug this trailer so much. I think DC's back on the right track. Oh, there was something else I wanted to look at, which was right here, actually. I'm glad I stopped. By the way, this moment right here, don't know what's going on, but it's probably going to be pretty cool. I love it whenever Superman and Lex interact face-to-face like that. But here, right here, I'm really interested where they're at. It kind of like, now that I'm looking at the background of it, it kind of looks like the Phantom Zone, maybe. They're in some kind of zone, that's for sure. And maybe it's a zone that's Phantom? I don't know. So, that's really cool as well. So yeah, lots of cool stuff going on in this trailer, man. I'm pretty excited. I'm pretty excited. So anyway, that's my take on the Superman trailer. You know, make sure you let me know what you think of it in the comments down below. Make sure you like and subscribe and all that good stuff. And I will see you all in the next video.